In 2025, Worms will be 30 years old. A game series that has had more releases than your average freak-off party, and with its over 100 plus games, ports and compilations, one game in particular stands at the top of the can as the absolute best in the series, according to longtime fans, and prepared to feel pretty old. But that title is now 25 years old. I am of course talking about Worms Armageddon. And no matter how much you may like the physics of the Gen 4 games, the 3D nature of the 3D games, or the simplicity of the originals, it's Worms Armageddon that perfected the simplistic nature of the game by not giving too much to scare away newcomers, but also having enough depth to keep longtime fans happy who still play this version constantly online to this very day. Certain video games stand the test of time and are simply put perfect. Games that others try and copy, and games that even the developers themselves try and replicate. But did Team 17 succeed? Well, that's very much down to your own personal opinion. Either way, there's no denying that Worms Armageddon is the GOAT. That's a donkey. But why am I telling you all this again? I just did a 1-hour video looking back at the entire history of this franchise, singing the praises of Worms Armageddon specifically. Well, simply put, Team 17 are paying me to say it again. Yes, it's an easy payday for old Slug, because I am more than happy to repeat what I said in that video that wasn't sponsored for this video, which is in order to help promote Worms Armageddon Anniversary Edition, or according to the press release, Okay, yeah, that's a great abbreviation. So, look, let's just get straight to it. What makes this anniversary edition so special? Well, it's Worms Armageddon again. The best version of the iconic game series with widescreen support, all of the extra add-ons that Team 17 added over its 10 plus years worth of updates and tweaks. The graphics, although still very much the same, have had a really crisp HD takeover. The scaling of the game is probably the best the series has ever seen. You've got achievements, you've got trophies, and if you really want to experience it all, you even have the Game Boy Color version included too. Which, I gotta be honest, even though I'm of course spent most of my time in the main game, I did check out this demake for this video, and it still surprises me how they managed to fit such a big and complex title onto such a tiny little handheld with so few buttons. It is well worth checking out, although keep in mind that when you do go back to playing the full game, you will need to rewire your brain as to which button does what. So yeah, that's Worms Armageddon Anniversary Edition, the best and definitely the most complete version of the most iconic game in the Worms franchise. It's a no-brainer. However, as much as I love the game, it's what Digital Eclipse have added to this release that really gets me excited / a little annoyed. Similar to other releases by the same studio, the included Interactive Museum, or War Stories as it is titled here, includes a timeline series of events leading up to this and other classic Worms titles with exclusive interviews, exclusive concept art, and even total wormage. Look, this is where it becomes a little bit bittersweet for me, as I've just come off the back of a video where I spent literally several months looking back through the entire internet for anything I could, and I did find quite a lot of interviews and old concept art via the Wayback Machine and old magazines, but there were two things in particular I wanted more than anything else, and I just simply couldn't get them. Number one was an interview with Andy Davidson himself, the literal creator of Worms, who pretty much never does interviews anymore and is virtually impossible to get hold of. And number two, any footage whatsoever of the previously mentioned Total Wormage, which was the original prototype that Andy created that started this whole thing. If only I waited just a couple more months, because it's all here in this anniversary edition. According to a Retro Gamer interview with Ashley Day of Digital Eclipse, who had the dream job of digging through the old Team 17 files, he was the one that found an old floppy in a box with the words "The Worms" written on it, and after loading it up, he discovered that it just so happened to be Total Wormage, the original Worms prototype. Again, it's a little bit bittersweet for me, because if I did just wait a few more months, then I would have had that footage too. Plus loads of other never before seen footage and pictures, which by the way was edited together by none other than Corey Carlson of My Life in Gaming. In short, it just makes this particular release so much more exciting for someone like me that's obsessed with this sort of stuff. A huge congratulations to Digital Eclipse for doing such an outstanding job at releasing the best version of arguably the best Worms game, and thank you to Team 17 for sponsoring this video. It really is the biggest compliment I can possibly get when my videos manage to reach the companies or the people behind said franchises. In short, Worms Armageddon has spent the last 25 years bonding and destroying friendships. It's the one game in the franchise that Team 17 put the most amount of updates and tweaks into. The last one, in fact, came in 20 years after its initial release in 2021. It's the one game that was used as the jumping off point for the latest proper release, WMD, which, by the way, it still goes toe-to-toe with in regards to online matches to this very day. And that's because, as stated in my complete history of Worms, Worms Armageddon is the fan favourite game in the series. And now you can get the best version of that fan favourite game for modern consoles, including Xbox for the first time ever, with all of the bells and whistles you would expect from a Digital Eclipse release. Worms Armageddon, the Anniversary Edition, is now available for the Xbox, for the PlayStation, and the Nintendo Switch. Thank you guys for checking out the video, and thank you Team 17 for giving me the opportunity, the privilege to work with you guys on Worms. That's absolutely incredible. Look, information can be found down in the description. This is the easiest video I've ever had to make. I know it's not a review, it's a sponsored video, but I'm talking about Worms Armageddon. Easiest video in the world. Thank you guys, thank you.